Hi, welcome to the Hey Boo Hey channel. Don't forget to click subscribe.
Hello guys, welcome once again to the Hey Boo Hey channel, and I hope you have enjoyed the day. It's about the close of day for me. I'm here for a very important topic, and I hope that this one is going to help you, because our topic for today is tips on how to pass the UPCAT or the UP college admission test. Yes, I'm doing this topic because as you would know, your lolo comes from a family of UP graduates. 7 of us in the family went to UP Los Baños and UP Diliman. And of course, your moms are also products of the UP system. So allow me to share my views and my thoughts about what might work and what might not if you want to pass the UP college admission test or UPCAT. This might be of help to you. The UP college admission test is not for the faint heart. It is composed of a battery of 4 subtests, and that would include the first is language proficiency in English and Filipino. The second is reading comprehension in English and Filipino. The third one is science, and the fourth one is math. Usually a student would already be inclined towards a certain area of interest, or something that is aligned with your own passion. What we have now is a system implemented by the Department of Education where a student actually selects his or her track already once he or she enters senior high school. Therefore, more or less those directions when you are about to take the UPCAT is already set in your head, and you've been working on it for quite some time already. So here we are. What are the tips? First is in regard of the course that you will choose. There are courses that are considered quota courses, and there are those that are considered non-quota. Of course, as the term itself implies, quota courses would be more competitive. The slots would probably be limited, and the interest that the course generates from would-be students would relatively be high, and therefore the competition would be stiffer. If you think that you are really cut for a quota course, you have the right tools to be able to pass it. Even if you choose that quota course, go ahead and do it. So there's no question about making it if you really believe in yourself. But for those who feel like they have to strategize a little bit to be able to enter the UP system, this one is for you. Tip number 1 is select a non-quota course. Now, there are many ways to do that. One is, of course, to check the websites and even the other relevant documents that you might find as to which courses are deemed as quota courses. If I'm not mistaken, the form itself would already indicate if that course is quota or not. However, the analytical person would not treat all non-quota courses as the same. There are non-quota courses that are very close to being a quota course, and there are non-quota courses that are really way a lot easier to enter for a variety of reasons. Number 1, not so many people want to enroll in that course, but that course is probably taken as a signature course or a legacy course in that campus, so they continue to offer that. Secondly, it may be that there is a new program that they want to introduce in that course, maybe a new curriculum, an experimental curriculum. So what they would probably want to do is to try to get more students into it. We don't know, but it can be a reason. Thirdly, it may purely be a policy direction that the management of that UP campus wants to implement. So those would be the different reasons, and it would be to the advantage of the more analytical applicant to determine which ones might have a higher chance of accepting more students. So what can you do then to be able to determine which ones are these courses? Well, the tip is you might want to check on the records of the previous year as to which courses have actually opened themselves up to accept students applying for reconsideration. For example, a student applied to UP Diliman and took a quota course and did not make it to that campus and that course because the GPA that he garnered from his UPCAT was not enough to enter that campus and that course. Just one thing to remember in this video, when I use the word GPA, I am of course referring to the terminology used in the UP system, which is the UP predicted grade or UPG. So just keep it in mind. So what he or she would probably do is to try to apply for a reconsideration in a different campus, and therefore would probably go to UP Los Baños or UP Baguio and see if he or she could enter that campus through a course that would consider his or her GPA. The websites would probably show, at least in my experience, I have seen some of those.
So these are just the courses that you should directly apply for.
The third tip is something that I have already implied in the beginning. You try to go for a course that is aligned with your forte. If you are good in math, of course, you can do a course that is heavy in numbers. If you are good in the sciences, you can go for it as well. And if you are more inclined towards social sciences, then you go that way. The reason why I said that is because when you are being evaluated for the course that you applied for, your score in the 4 subtests will be compared to the general requirements of the course that you're applying for. For example, if you're applying for a science course, let's say BS Biology or Zoology, Animal Science or Veterinary Medicine, they will look at how you fared in the science subtest and would of course expect that you would have done very well in that regard for you to be considered in the science courses. Of course, you will still be required to perform well enough in the other subtests, but the evaluation will be leaning more towards the sciences if you're applying for a science course. And so it goes for the other subtests. If you are, for example, applying for an AB English course and you did not do very well in the English proficiency and reading comprehension, then you would likely not be considered for that course. So when you choose a course to take in the application form, make sure that you're taking something that's aligned with your forte. Those inclinations would already be manifested during your senior high school anyway. So I know that you know what your strengths are. You go for it. The next tip is about taking the exam itself. The exam is, as described, a battery of subtests, and it's going to take a lot of grit to be able to go through all the 4 subtests. So listen to what your parents and friends tell you. Have a good rest prior to the day of the exam. Personally, what I do is I stop reviewing a day before. I just try to relax. Don't overload yourself on the last day because you need that positive energy to get you through the battery of exams on the day itself. So don't burn yourself out. Secondly, answer all the questions. You answer all the questions. You would have heard that it's correct minus wrong. There's a semblance of truth into it, but it's not on a one-to-one. There are certain deductions for every wrong answer that you give, but it's not a full point that's being deducted. It might be that they are deducting a full point for an unanswered question. So you might as well put in an answer so that you don't get deducted a full point. That's how I see the system goes. I could be wrong, but that's how I understood it to be. Another tip is for you to go through the questions first. Just read through all the questions and then go back to the start and start answering the questions. If there are questions that you determine to be difficult for you, that you might actually use more time, skip those questions and move on to the next. And when you get to the end, you go back to those difficult questions. And if you feel you're gonna run out of time, just answer to the best of your ability, but don't leave it blank. And finally, people tend to think that there is no room for general knowledge in the UPCAT. Actually, there is. Students think that they don't need to be updated in terms of current events. Actually, you do. There are questions related to English and Filipino proficiency and to English and Filipino reading comprehension that would actually require some knowledge on current events. If you don't have any idea as to what the subject matter is, it would be more difficult for the question to resonate in your head. For example, in the international scene, you're well read about the West Philippine Sea situation. You are well read about the situation in the European Union and the Brexit. So you should make it a point to be a wide reader and to have general knowledge as part of your array of tools at your disposal. I would suggest better if you can read about history, Philippine history or world history or geography. These things would always come in handy. If you just spend an hour of your life every day, imagine what level of knowledge you will have if you used up 365 hours in 1 year. That's a lot of general knowledge that you can pack in and actually have them at your disposal when you are taking exams like the UPCAT. The pressure that comes with taking the UPCAT could be a little heavy for some, and the way to deal with it is to sit through that exam mentally prepared. And for me, the most effective way to do that would be have a mindset of taking an UPCAT every exam that you take during your high school year. Remember this: a significant part of your high school grades, partly in your junior high school and largely in your senior high school years, would be taken as part of the computation of your UPG or UP predicted grade. So you have to do well during high school. Have the mindset that the exam that you're taking, the questions that you're going to answer in your high school exam, it might be that this would come out during the UPCAT. Each body of idea that you end up storing in your head during your high school years might figure into the UPCAT exam. And you know that if you have done this throughout your high school life, you already have an advantage.
That's it, and good luck. See you next time. God bless you.